Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fantastic Tones for Human Bones. Welcome back. It's been such a long time that we've recorded, for reasons that we're not going to get into.
No.
And what have we for you today? We are going to talk about the year 2022.
Who are we? Who are you?
Oh, yeah. I'm your usual Robert Woods-Ledoux.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I'm your usual Mark Pescucci Clifford.
Yep, just
the
us.
Usualist. Just us.
Okay, so we're going to talk about 2022, the year, some of our favorite releases. Now, I have gotten together a top 10 here, actually.
Cool.
And so I don't think... So for these top 10, there was maybe some minor exceptions, but for the most part, well, I guess there's a few major exceptions now that I look at it. But for the most part, these were not found on many of the sort of major best of music lists that came out at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the NPR list, the Pitchfork list, the Bandcamp list, etc., etc. So, what have you? Do you have any preparations, or are you just gonna tell me how bad mine are? What have you got?
I have some. I mean, I don't have any. I'll tell you what I have. I have some records that were made that I think were very good in that year, and then I have some discoveries that I discovered of artists who didn't necessarily make records, but records that I personally found that I really liked. So we can get to that later on, because that's that's just me talking about music I like, and it's not part of the assignment. So, but
there's no rules in this podcast.
All right,
but can I say?
Go ahead.
I just say, like, this is the right time to be doing a best of 2022 anything, because the year has passed.
Yes.
Most of these lists come out in November and December.
Just fucking garbagey crap.
Yeah, obviously, if you release a record in December, you have little chance of making a best of list in any year.
Yeah, man. People are snoozing with Santa. They're not going to listen to anything.
Snoozing with Santa.
All right. So what? I mean, can we start with a couple hometown heroes, or do you? Because you have like a numerical list. Is that right? Like it's in order.
It's not.
An ordered
it's
list?
not
Sorry.
ordinal. It's not ordinal. It's an unordered list.
Unordered list. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, we do have some friends of the pod. We've got, I have at least one on the list here.
What do you got? I wonder if it's one of mine.
Well, I Lack the Low for sure.
Oh,
and
I had that record on the other day.
That's for my top 10. That's actually it. But
okay.
But there's more.
Yeah.
Than that.
All right. Well, let's dive right in then. Let's speaking of friends, did you listen to Flustered?
The Jordan Glenn?
The Jordan Glenn. It was released May 13, 2022.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good. And it's I'm super glad he made it. You know? And he didn't talk about making this at all. Apparently, he recorded it with Zachary James Watkins, and Mr. Miles Boyson mastered it, and it's solo Jordan. 12 amazing tracks of solo Jordan, and you can. There's so much, so much energy that, like, being able to hear what he's capable of just in like the first 3 tracks is, alone, just a solo drum set.
Yeah.
Just like, it's insane the amount of music that he can make. And then just like really beautiful really beautiful moments as well with more of his like contraptions, you know, like with the
He's got
melodic
quite
things.
a lot of things up his sleeve that don't always get to. He's so busy playing in other people's bands that you don't always get to hear what he does on the drum set in his own element.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so he's such a fantastic drummer. I remember always this. There was one show he played at the rest in peace, Totally Intense Fractal Mind Gaze Hut. Way back in the day, where he was just like, you know, it was one of the Jordan used to live at this sort of like warehouse where they had shows, and he did a show there where he just did a drum set solo. He was just like, I'm just going to do a 20-minute drum set solo. And it was like one of the most amazing things. And he could just carry it all the way through. And he had like, it, you know, in typical Jordan way, it's like he had all these kind of points mapped out, but was mostly kind of improvising along the way, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a great album. And that your mention of this album, I should mention that, like, just because there's things that are not in this list, I trimmed it down to 10 just to be concise.
Yeah.
But there's a tremendous amount of good music. We all know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm, of course, it's just, you know, man, this is one that I checked out. I was super into, and I'm going to call out a couple more hometown heroes for me. So it's, all good. And I just like this record because there are moments when you play with Jordan or when you listen to him, when like he sort of goes for it and opens up, and you're just like, it's the moment you're like, ooh, wow. He's so good. But then this is a whole record of that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. There's Jordan.
Okay, so I have clips. These are all, I made my clips all under a minute, so I didn't want to take too long.
Okay.
All right, so first on my list here is Daniel Herskedal. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Out of the Fog.
Yeah.
Here, let me chat you my whole list real quick.
Dig. Oh, and tomorrow's Bandcamp Friday.
Oh yeah, and tomorrow is Bandcamp Friday.
I can just get
maybe I can release this
tomorrow.
tonight. We got to wrap it up though. We got to wrap this up right now.
Yeah,
it's getting late. Come on, loading. What's up? All right, so this list includes my honorable mentions. I'll get into these categories in a minute. But okay, so Out of the Fog. This is on the record label. What is it called? Doing a bad job at this already.
I don't know. It doesn't. It's not.
E2 Music. There we go. Okay.
Is that like the letter and the number?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, Daniel is a tuba player. He's also playing bass trumpet on this record.
What?
Tremendously beautiful tuba playing, like, and he can really get like way up into the stratosphere for the tuba when he plays. It's incredibly beautiful. And this record features this vocalist, Emily Nicholas. And the compositions are by Daniel, the lyrics are by Emily, and it says all arrangements by the musicians. So clearly this was put together by the group itself in a live setting, which is pretty cool. So yeah. All of the songs on here are incredibly beautiful. Every musician is incredibly virtuosic. So here is just one example of what's on the record.
Okay.
Great dangers are all don't leave my side, stay the whole night.
Yo, we got to go over there, man.
Where? To
Oslo. But
yeah.
also, where's? I mean,
don't know, man.
where's
Seems cold.
WeJazz? WeJazz is in Helsinki.
I don't know.
Well, anyway,
That's gonna come up in a moment.
that was really
WeJazz.
interesting. The treatment of the drums. That was like. So okay, this looking at this, I would figure this would be a bit more straightforward jazz realm, but that was not at all the case. Like those
Do you
drums.
know? Do you know the other releases by this person?
Nope.
Okay. I would highly recommend to. I mean, he's got a bunch of great albums.
Yeah.
But check out Voyage. As a that's like a great starting point. And then
Oh yeah.
I
It's
don't know.
Quite a discog.
Yeah, Voyage. Just check out the first track on Voyage, and you'll take it from there. It's a
Okay,
great
cool.
entry point.
Yeah, that was. I was. First of all, that was a very beautiful sounding record. The drums were like. It almost reminded me of. Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms kind of drums. I mean, that's a weird
yeah.
reference, but it totally, in my mind, it took me
No,
straight
yeah,
back to
that's
that man
a-
too
that's a-
big, man too strong kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Ga-goon, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
big,
totally,
big.
totally. That's funny. Yeah, the reverb is definitely a big part of his sound on nearly all of these records. Because he's got this beautiful when he solos. I mean, I guess I didn't choose the best excerpt to like his feature his tuba playing, but when he's taking these solos, it's crazy. Like he's got this impeccable, beautiful tone.
Okay.
And the reverb is like always like huge and shimmering off of it. So it's great.
What the hell is the difference between a mellophone and a bass trumpet? I mean, he plays a bass trumpet specifically, and I figured you have
don't know, man.
trumpet, flugel, and then mellophone, which is like a little tuba that you play in front of your face, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be able to answer this question.
All right, we'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
Yo, I saw. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Should we press on? Should I go through my 10 and then
No, we can.
go back and forth, or do you want to go talk about something?
Yeah, let's. Well, the difference is you have samples lined up. I could play a little bit of things. Let me figure out the share. Char.
Here, let me do these 10, and then I'll turn it over for you. How's that?
Sounds good. Yeah, I have a few things we can talk about.
Okay. Because I do want to go through this relatively quickly, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so next from good old Eye of Voidinger,
Yes.
we've got BEKOR QILISH, I'm guessing. I pretty much don't know how to pronounce any of these band names. So this is Throes of Death from the Dreamed Nihilism.
Oh, this record cover is so cool. Everyone needs to look at the record cover. I love it.
Yes. So a lot of really cool records from Eye of Voidinger this past year. This one definitely stands out, and I did see this on a number of lists. So it did get some attention. But this is like death thrash, but it's like really pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So here's a segment from Verminous Barrier.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Great metal. I think it's just one it's just one person.
Okay.
But this has like Colin Marston on it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Huh. Where's this one person from?
I don't know.
BEKOR QILISH.
Yeah, I don't know.
Written, performed, and recorded by Andrea Brazzoni.
Perhaps
Brazzone,
Italian? I don't know.
avant-garde, fresh. Italy. Okay, Italian. Right on.
There you go.
I think we have some other Italian people coming up here pretty soon, right?
It's a possibly.
Yes.
So up next on my list is Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs, which I guess is like a fairly popular artist. But this album, When the Lights Go, is a banger. I've always really liked this guy's stuff. But he hasn't really put out an album. It's interesting. Like I was really hoping that he was gonna put out an album that kind of went in this direction, which is like more, because he's done stuff like this before, and then he's done kind of more just techno and IDM stuff.
Okay.
And then this is more like, okay, we're gonna go towards 80s pop jams, basically, is the vibe here. And so
You've been waiting for this moment.
I've been waiting for this moment all my life. And this is Never Seen You Dance.
You want me, I want you more. I wanna see you dancing. I never seen you dancing. Don't be like that, making me wait. I only came here for you, as if I'm leaving without you. How long have I been waiting now? Only for the hope of one kiss. Loneliness. How long have I been waiting now? Only for the hope of one kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a jammer. That's
Such
one
a
that I want to have on quite a bit. Well,
The whole album is so feel good. It's just
Yeah.
wonderful.
that feels amazing. I mean, let's go on a run together and play frisbee and just like be happy. Man,
Yeah.
that feels
Yeah.
that feels good. Definitely gonna check that out. So the other stuff is more techno adjacent, you'd say? EDM?
Well, this record is all kind of like, he's got a lot of it's honestly slow jams, which is like, this is one of the few kind of more up songs.
Okay.
No, I take that back. There's a lot of up songs, but it's yeah, he's done some other stuff in the past. Like after he released like one album that I had, and then he was just after that just kind of releasing these mixtapes for a while. And
Okay.
like remixes and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
It was like more in the electronic music world than I was prepared to go into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he's definitely got some other releases but this one's really, really great.
Yeah,
Okay. So next on my list, I
fantastic.
have Passenger by Cryptovolans. So this is an album that's, I feel like you put this on and it's like really easy to get lost in, because the music is really dense. It's all kind of like MIDI, like these MIDI, general MIDI sound sets.
Okay.
I
Just by looking at this cover.
really don't know how this music was made. Well, I guess he says right here, sound effects short from Corel WordPerfect Suite, Microsoft Office Suite. So this is like, these are like default old computer sounds. But anyway,
each track is a single MIDI file played back on the Roland SC88 Pro. I mean, this does sound like a Devin thing. Devin, like MIDI Paradise. Like he just used that Roland engine and like pumped all those jams through it. Okay, let's hear what we got.
Also, I just wanted to point out, because this tricked me for a while. So if you look at the record label, it looks like it says Lilypad Records, but they're playing a trick with sans serif fonts, and it's actually IIIY Pad Records. So just put that in your pipe and smoke it. So this is an excerpt from the track Amphibious.
That's amazing. I feel like I've dreamed of attempting to make music like that, but this person has found a way to streamline the process. You see that you get the MIDI files as a bonus for buying this record?
Wait, really?
Yeah, the MIDI files are available as a bonus download when you purchase the album. They are optimized for the SC88 Pro.
I need to look into that, because I feel like I don't have the MIDI files, but I would check in on that.
That sounds incredible. I mean, there's the pianist Adam Benjamin. I mean, I feel like part of why I started thinking about this, that he put out a record called "It's a Standard World," where, you know, when GarageBand was first becoming a thing.
Yeah,
like he made like 33 or so standards just using a 1 octave MIDI controller in GarageBand. And some of it has like that kind of energy from what you just played, but it's like honestly one of my favorite standard albums. And this is total jazz sacrilege, but I love that record so much because it's still Adam Benjamin. Like he's still a complete master, but he's like there's this complete levity to it.
Text me that. Let's include that. We should start making notes of what you're talking about so I can
my rantings. I will. Yes.
Yeah.
Note,
because I want to check that one out for sure.
Okay, cool one.
Yeah. Okay, pressing on. Koma Saxo with Sofia Jernberg. The album is called Koma West. This is our, I would say, favorite of the pod group of people.
Yes.
Peter Eld, Christian Lillinger, Otis Sanjo, Sofia Jernberg.
Wait, so Lillinger is in that crew as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Dang, man. Yeah, we gotta go over there.
These people have something wrong with them. I don't. They're too good. They're too like, and the music they play is like all. It's weird that there's like a group of people that are all independently releasing music and it's so similar.
Oh, this record. Yeah, this is one of my tops. I love this one.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's beautiful.
So here's an excerpt from the track Koma Krig.
Yeah.
unacceptably good playing in that, and all of the compositions are really, really interesting and like really unique. It's like it's hard to even describe what genre of music this is, you know?
Yeah, it's it's that same excitement from listening to Otis, who is part of this, of course, but
Yeah.
so okay, when this first came out in March, I listened to this a lot, and then I'm just now putting together that Christian Lillinger is part of Koma Saxo. Koma Saxo. And
Yeah.
I feel kind of insane because I put him in a different realm. Like I listen to his trio stuff quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Which is different compositional style from this by far, in my opinion. And so for him to kind of chill out a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's like he is playing fewer notes on this record.
yeah. I mean, check out the Christian Lillinger trio when y'all get a chance. We've talked about it in some of the Bandcamp recommends, but this record
Well,
is
I have on the top 10
astonishingly
here.
good.
Spoiler alert: Christian Lillinger is going to return. So,
Dun, dun, ding.
okay, moving on.
So good.
Daniel Rossen.
Yeah.
You Belong
on,
There by Daniel Rossen.
Love this record. We had this on a lot.
You turned me on to this one, I think.
Yeah.
So this is on Warp Records, oddly, I would say.
Well, I mean, he's had a long-standing relationship with them through Grizzly Bear. So,
Oh, okay.
But also, it was weird that they got on there in the first place, in my opinion. But anyway.
Yeah. So he's a guitar player, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing. It says nothing about this on the Bandcamp site. Like, I have no background on this person.
Oh, it doesn't say the personnel. Bummer.
Yeah. It sounds like, just judging by the record, it sounds like he's a guitar player, and that he's perhaps classically trained.
Yeah, and then he was at NYU getting a jazz guitar degree at some point, I think.
Yeah. And he's the kind of sound of this record is really interesting because it's kind of got this older big band sound. Like I'm kind of like thinking about like the old Scott Walker recordings or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's very high quality. So, and his voice is amazing as well. So this is a little excerpt from the track 2, Shadow in the Frame.
Yeah.
Now carry these lines through the canyon. All these hills will surely wash away. All these hills will surely wash away. One at a time, the lamps died. Left shapes in the dark I can't describe. All the sightless creatures find our way. All the sightless creatures find our way. Underground, great blades that crack and groan and break apart. The earth shakes.
I just love Dan Rossen so much. And it is Chris Bear playing drums on that, and just absolutely some of the most inspiring drum playing for me personally.
Yeah,
that I've heard in a long time, because like the context in which he's using it in these songs is, and then how creative he is and how much control he has, like his combination of chops and creativity and being able to apply it to like a song where if you were the drummer in that, what the hell would you do? You know?
Yeah.
Like I'd like chill on some brushes or something, but like Chris Bear is just so incredible. So much control with his playing. One of my favorite drummers easily.
Yeah, he kind of like cuts across the beat and all. It's like It's kind of like an ice skater, like dancing around the beat as it's moving forward. It's cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you, I'll send these to you as well, but if you like that, you should listen to Dan Rossen in his Silent Hour Golden Mile, or I forget what it's called, something like that. And then his Department of Eagles self-titled record, I think. Those are both really good, and I'll send those to you.
Yeah.
As well as Grizzly Bear Yellow House, of course.
Cool. So next we have INHUMANKIND. We interviewed on this very podcast Alex of INHUMANKIND, and their album Self-Deification came out on I Voidhanger Records.
Yep.
And yeah, so there's a whole entire podcast about this record. So you can go listen to that if you're bored, if you are curious.
It's really good.
But here's I think I played this during that podcast as well, but this is Godspit. It's one of my favorite tracks here. Yeah, that band is that band is great.
I just saw that I wrote a comment on this Bandcamp page for this record. I don't remember writing it, but I stand by it. And I rarely do this, but I was definitely moved by this record and talking to Alex because he was such a cool guy. So I think I definitely put my little stamp on there.
Yeah, Alex Riveriego. I don't remember which podcast number it is, but it was obviously we did it after this album was released. So,
but shortly after, right?
Yeah, it was probably
pretty cool.
in May or June of 2022.
Yeah,
something like that. Okay, so up next, this was one that was really surprising. Okay, a lot of these were not on any lists. But I was really surprised to not see that, like how few times I saw this on any list. Meshuggah's Immutable. Yeah, it's they're the masters. I don't know. It's hard to argue with their mastery of their craft. And this is one of the best. It's by far the best produced Meshuggah albums. Like, it's the best mixed, you know? Everything's so crystal clear and heavy. So I have a little excerpt here from God He Sees in Mirrors. I really like this song. I find it to be some of the most disconcerting, like I feel like everything, all the riffs end earlier than you expect them to.
Yeah. And for more thoughts on Meshuggah in general, our first duo pod from a few months ago, we go deep into.
Oh yeah, we did. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
we did talk about that.
Yeah.
And
so
anyway,
anywho, but yeah, let's listen a bit. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a great
so
song.
Good. It was amazing seeing Thomas this year. Or last year. That
Yeah,
just
seeing
made
them
me
play live.
so happy.
Yeah, they're a great band.
Yes.
Okay, another person that has been on this podcast,
Cat.
Cat Hunter Lack the Low, her album God Carrier, which came out before the podcast we did. I forget when we did our podcast with her.
We did that a while ago. I thought. Okay, so this was already out because we did listen through with her on some of these.
No, she had given us a private link.
Okay, so this wasn't out yet, right?
It wasn't out yet.
But did we listen through on any of these in particular? Because I know that we had maybe transcribed.
I think we didn't.
Okay.
I think we did not do. We hit really hard the Know What It's Like album. Or no, sorry, the what's it called? One Eye Closed.
Yeah, it's just that Rushlight. I remember. Or
we
maybe
talked
it's
a little bit
Sharpens-
about this album, but we didn't listen to any of them.
Okay.
The tracks, I think.
Okay.
That's my recollection.
I think I just learned some of the chord progressions on either Rushlight or Sharpest Knife. But anyway, moving on. It is a beautiful record.
Okay, so the excerpt that I'm about to play, I just did a show where I covered the song, and it was like it's such a good song. It's really a testament to the songwriting itself. But it's like I used it to close out a show.
Yeah.
And it was just like everyone was like really, really impressed by it, and I was like, no, that's they're like, I like that song. I was like, that's a Lack the Low song.
That's good to spread. Not enough people know about Lack the Low, in my opinion. So I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, especially around here. So this is Small Windows.
Small windows are here to remind you of what you have left behind. Every choice made is a sacrifice. You had so much to give. How to count all of the blessings unnumbered and overlooked. What could you give that would erase all the wishes you once held dear? Close all the windows, close all the windows, close all the windows.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, listen back to that one if you haven't heard that. That was an interview that I came away from feeling extremely like inspired personally. Just her,
Yeah, she's kind
was
of a crazy person. I
an
always think
insane
about
musician. It's
there's
crazy.
some things from that interview that I always think about. Like she told us, she was telling us how like it was like her mother was an organist, her grandmother was an organist, her great grandmother was an organist, or something like this. Her great grand, like all of the women up the line of her mother are like organists.
It's like the Lieutenant Dan, but instead of like soldiers dying in a montage, it's just women playing organ in a montage. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so last on my 10 here is the Christian Lillinger and Elias Sternisetter album Penumbra.
Huh. Wait, what is this?
You don't know this one?
The devil?
What the devil? Yeah, so this is
No, I don't know this.
Placed is a label founded by Christian Lillinger. So this is Christian Lillinger's label. So this music, I think, exemplifies Christian's play. I'm less familiar with this other person who's like the synthesizer person. It's clearly like this is like a good duo project for them. But it's also a great example of what Christian's playing is like, and how crazy it is. So this is, I don't know. I have
This
any
is a
idea?
December release.
Huh?
This is a December release.
Oh yeah. Very recent. but they were teasing about this for freaking half a year with their pre-release stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Now that I'm looking at the name of it, I do feel like I've seen this on some of his socials coming up.
Yeah.
Can I just say the credits real quick? Because it's interesting. I mean, they both are credited. It's Elias Sternadisser or something. I'm just butchered that. I'm so sorry.
Sternesetter. Yeah.
Composition, producing, Spinet, synthesizer, electronics, and Christian on composition, producing drums, sampler, synthesizer. So this is very much a joint project, which is great.
Yeah. Okay, so this track is an excerpt from Topakshoi. Lord have mercy, I don't know how to say any of this stuff. But yeah, it's the complexity of the drumming and the organization of what they have going on here is pretty crazy. Here you go.
You know, I'm realizing something now. I've listening to that helped me put a finger on what's like the Eotis and then the Koma Saxo and this. There's a freedom in how they're approaching this music through production, like production-based jazz, where it's not just like kind of typical hip hop jazz that you hear a lot around here, which I mean, please do not get me wrong at all. I am a avid participant in that art form, but that's why like when I hear things like Eotis and this, like my mind is boggled because it's completely, it's production based in a lot of it, but it's so far removed from what I am used to when people are like, you know, cross-fertilizing like heavier production and jazz stuff, you know? And this is, of course, beyond that. This is more avant-garde in the compositional leanings, but I'm just thinking about everything that I've been hearing from that realm and why it kind of boggles my mind, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that has something to do with it.
There is definitely a, like, I don't know what it is exactly, but all of the people that from, I guess it's, see, Christian Lillinger is in Germany. I don't understand this.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's Oslo, Helsinki, and Berlin.
Yeah.
And they all just like take trains around and hang out and make this insane creative crap.
It's so weird. Like they have such a kind of similar, all of these projects have like a similar vibe to them.
Yeah.
Which is I don't get it. I don't understand if they're like all living in different countries, like they don't even hang out together. Like
I don't know.
They must have gone.
I don't know, man.
Maybe they went to school together or something.
Well, they've made a scene, and this is not on We Jazz. This is Christian's label, but he's part of Koma Saxo, which is not on We Jazz either. Huh? I don't know. I'll ask Shel Nordison about it, man. Maybe
I thought Koma Saxo was on We Jazz.
Oh, it is. You're totally right. My bad.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, there's Bandcamp Friday sale. Use code 10% off. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a list, my dear boy.
So I just had one thing. So I have a... So that's my best of 2022, and then I have one tiny section called "Don't Tell Me What to Do," and I just wanted to mention
I thought that was the name of a band.
Yeah. So this is Richard Dawson and Circle, the album called Henki.
Oh, okay.
which was released November 26, 2021. But this is one of my most listened to records over the last year.
I get it. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just, and it's really like this person is really interesting. I was kind of poking around at Richard Dawson. I think this album in particular is really great because he's playing with this band Circle, and they have like they put together a pretty unique sound, and there's like some jamming that goes on. Like some of this record is like some real jam band stuff, which is not something I would normally get into, but they do a really pretty good job of that.
Okay.
And
All right.
I was going to play like a little segment of the song Lily, because that's what hooked me on this album.
Okay.
Um,
Working as a junior nurse in the early 80s at the Royal Victoria Infirmary. You would see them very often in the hour shortly after they had passed away. There was one gentleman walked on by, smile beaming, though I knew him gravely ill, confined to bed. I'd soon learn was in fact as dead. Black lights lolling in the distance. I have seen the flags of another country. Black lights looming in the doorway. Patterns unfold around me.
Are you a fan of Robert Wyatt?
not particularly, I guess. I don't really know Robert Wyatt's stuff that well.
I'll send you the record Sleep, and I feel like you'll very much find some things that you're gonna like in there. This is
Are you
really
sure
cool.
it
There
won't
was-
put me to sleep?
It's about insomnia, so I don't think you need to worry about it. I think that, well, what I want to say is that it was very yes, you say the same thing, very surprising. Yeah, there was a lot of unexpected twists and turns in there, and that was really fascinating, and I want to keep hearing that over and over again and figure out what the deuce is going on.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah. It's really, and the lyrics are really fantastic. You got to dive it, kind of parse the lyrics. I haven't found them written down anywhere. Maybe they're on the internet now.
Cool.
But yeah, why don't you share something with us, Mark?
Well, cool. Yeah, I think there's some things that I enjoyed listening to. Apart from, well, I just want to talk a little bit about the friends of ours that I really enjoyed. Let's see. I think, where did my page go? I'm sorry. I'm doing a horrible job right now. Yeah, see? It's already lodged in.
There's a music video for that song that's really awesome.
All right, I'll check it out. Genogram. Schimsheimer Family Trio. We talked to Michael Coleman about this project.
Oh yeah.
And, he has moved. Arkin and Casey are both busy humans, and Casey is often on the other coast, and I think John Arkin is as well. But they found the time to get together and make some music together, and it's a fantastic record. So if you haven't checked
John
it out,
moved?
no, they're all around here.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like they just both travel a bunch. Maybe that's just in my mind, though. Who knows? This is also a December baby. December 2, 2022, with the music video by Sneal, recorded by Eli Cruz, mixed by Michael at New Improved and Rocket Ship. So, yeah, everything that I love about this band is up front and present, like really creative writing, great playing, and cool sonic decisions in terms of like instrumentation and how John Arkin approaches the drumming instrument overall, like incorporating electronic drums and everything like that. He's a beast. Love that
Indeed,
dude.
he is.
Yeah. So I don't have audios lined up. I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah. Scheimer Family Trio. That's SCHIMSCHEIMER Family Trio. And we talked to Michael Coleman about the genesis of that name. Let's see. Another interesting record that I got. I got the CD a little bit ago. And I really like it. let me find it real quick, man. Oh yeah, Four Freedoms. Josh Sinton, the great saxophonist. I think, yeah, baritone sax primarily, a lot of bass clarinet. So this is Four Freedoms, the Josh Sinton's Predicate Quartet, which includes on it the great Tom Rainey on drums. Absolutely legendary drummer in my little world, in little Mark's head. He's a legend. Jonathan Finlayson on trumpet, and Christopher Hoffman on cello. So with just that lineup, right? And Josh is on baritone sax, alto flute, bass clarinet, and he's a composer. With just that lineup, I think I told you this recently, but it took me a while to realize that there was no bassist on this because I got the CD in the mail from Josh and I just put it on, and like I kept having little stop and listen moments because there's there's really cool textural composition, and then there's like absolutely astonishing free improvisations, and they go together seamlessly. And it seems to me like this is coming out of a pretty intense place emotionally for Josh just by listening. And yeah, if you look at the titles, like track 3 is called Blood, track 4 is called Shards. So
Blood shards.
Blood Shards, but it's heavy listening and really amazing playing. And from this kind of world where it's like free improvisation and textual composition and everything interweaved, and a lot of trust among the musicians to be able to make this, and like true absolute commitment to the music as well. This was a fantastic CD that I enjoyed listening to quite a bit and still am. Just in terms of some really killing, burning, awesome, fun to listen to, great players, just one of those things when you like want to like get pumped up to like just go shed some lines, and you know what I mean? Like shed some improvisatory lines. That almost sounded like I was alluding to something else. But John Irabagon, Rising Sun, and I hope I'm saying his last name right. I think he's a Chicago alto player.
know.
Or no, tenor, my bad.
I'm not
And
familiar.
He's awesome. And I also know from listening to some stuff with Josh Sinton that John was like really active in keeping Josh going when Josh was in a kind of a rough place. And John encouraged him to do some solo records, and I think to push through and really see some of these projects out. So that got me interested in like, well, who is John? What is he doing? And this record that came out last year called Rising Sun, I have an immediate affinity for because it's about his trips to the desert, and it has like things called a track called Needles, which is my favorite district of the Canyonlands in Utah. There's a track called Hoodoo 2, where he's talking about the hoodoos. And so anyone who has like done any backpacking or camping in the Utah deserts will, like, the strange, incredible beauty that's out there. And he's trying to capture this, but in a completely different way than I did. This is more like just burning jazz, in my opinion, burning modern jazz. So on here, he's joined by Matt Mitchell on piano and Fender, and Chris Lightcap on electric and acoustic bass, and Dan Weiss. I apologize forever. I always get that mixed up, but he is one of my favorite drummers nonetheless, on drums. I think it's Dan Weiss, and he's ridiculous on this record.
Lock in your choice. Final answer.
Whatever. I mean, I've been corrected on this very podcast on that pronunciation by Rob Ewing, I believe. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's so good. It's very, very good. And Dan's playing is just like top form. So check it out. Yes, of course, I Had a Dream About Amnesia came out early in the year, and we recently talked with Nathan about that record. I think it's a beautiful project that came out of the pandemic, and I am lucky to be on it, but I really like the performances on it. And I think our interview with him will be out shortly, so you can check out and hear more about that. And hear some excerpts. Yeah, but totally. I mean, there was a bunch. Oh, and State of the Vibraphone. There's someone who I want to shout out. Do you know this vibraphonist, Patricia Brennan, at all?
No.
Well, she's a very interesting vibraphonist. She plays in Mary Halverson's group.
Oh, you know what? I think. Okay, wait. I did see this record on a list. What's it called?
More Touch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That does ring a bell.
Yeah. So, Patricia has been coming up through the ranks for, I want to say, the past 3-4 years, maybe more than that. I remember Matt Moran talking to me about her, and oh my God, Chris Dingman. They would all get together and practice, which just sounds like a really fun time, like marimba and vibraphone, I believe. But this is one of her own projects where she's not a side person, and I think she's done some playing with Hollenbeck as well in one of his large ensembles. But this features Marcus Gilmore, the great Marcus Gilmore on drums, Kim Cass, who was out here for a long time and I used to play with quite a bit, on bass, and then Mauricio Herrera on percussion. So I was really interested in listening to this just because I'm always curious how vibraphonists are approaching composition and what they're doing. Like, I've been listening a lot to Matt Moran's trio records, and this is cool. She is incorporating electronics really well. Like, I think she has the bars going through the summed pickups and everything. And,
nice.
And I think she's learned some of her, effects pedal. I think she picked up some stuff from Mary Halverson for sure, because you hear that the little bow, that Halverson has, which I found fascinating. But she has a really clean and clear way of incorporating that. So definitely into checking it out. So do dig.
You're into checking it out.
I'm into being into it.
Yeah.
And also just weird hip hop that I found interesting to listen to. Fatboy Sharif, Preaching in Havana, that came out last year and I checked it out. And then that one's fine. And then the other one that I thought was cool that got some shouts, of course, like the Jeff Parker at the ETA got a lot of attention, and I thought it was pretty good. I liked that record, and I also like this Activities by Anna Buttress, or Butters with 2S, who's a bassist out in LA. And it's another, production, improvisation, composition, mashup thing where people are feeling more and more freedom with how they're making their jazz adjacent records, which I love. Super into it. And I thought she had some really interesting tracks on this one. I like the direction that she's going. And it's like there's some humor in it as well, in my opinion.
Nice.
I would say that well, never mind. I'm going to keep that to myself right now. Anyway. Yeah. So those are some records I heard. The Rossen, You Belong There, is definitely a shared top, as is the Meshuggahs.
Meshuggahs.
You know.
Yeah. Another podcast guest, Brendan Burns,
Yep.
released Holocene Dream, which is
Is that the blue one?
it's the one with like the beach on it.
Where is
Cover
that?
with there's like a lizard tail entwined with a
Oh, yeah.
palm tree.
Totally. That's an awesome cover.
Yeah.
Love that dude.
Yeah, and like a pyramid mountain. It's really good. And they're like the waves are like the sub mountain, the foothills. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
hard
this
to
is-
it's hard to
bugged out.
describe. Anyway, so just on this, it's Brendan is doing microtonal stuff. He's using his 27 EDO and 22 EDO guitars.
Mhm.
And this album comes from good old Song of the Day, or at least some of the tracks coming from Song of the Day,
Song of Day.
Song of Day month.com. Sad fam. But let me play a little sample of Rhinosaur Beach.
Please do. I really like that.
The way that I'm still amazed by the way that he uses harmony in his crazy tunings.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of what we talked about, right? It's just making it like, it's basically the chord progressions we all know and love, just a bit more juicy and colorful.
Well, yeah, but it's in some ways it's not the chord progressions that we know and love, right? Because if the chord progressions that we know and love exist on the basis of like that you have tension resolving to like dissonance resolving to consonance as a means of moving it forward. So a tritone resolving into a major third or out to a fifth or a sixth or something.
Sixth, yeah, right.
Like that sort of basis is kind of thrown out the window because in his tuning systems he has more just intonation. So like the tritone that he has is closer to consonance than the tritone from Equal Temperament.
But don't you think that your ears are gonna put things in a context in which your brain can understand it, like kind of mash it in there somehow, and it's just because that's what it feels like to me. Like I feel like hearing what I just heard, that little bit, I do think that I could go try to. It would probably drive me nuts to try to play something like that on piano, but I still feel like I can like relate to it in the same way, where it's just like, oh yeah, that feels like this type of chord progression. where it's like moving from like, 1 to major flat 3 or something like that and back, and he's jamming on it.
I think you could approximate it, but it would be different. And I
Yeah.
also think that what makes it sound the way that it does would be lost because
Well,
of what
absolutely. Yes, I agree with that.
So like if what I'm talking about is like if you have like this is we talked about this extensively on the podcast, but it's like if like I would conjecture that if you have a dissonant interval in his tuning system and resolve it to a consonant interval, which might bear no relationship to a the way that could work in equal temperament, you would have a functional harmony system unique in itself.
Wait, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
So like one of the I don't remember the number, but the tritone is, and also like the flatted seventh are like the two very important notes for the just intonation sound because they have this very low ratio, simple ratio relationship to one. Like, so they're simpler, like it adjust a perfectly like the harmonic series. Like if you have the harmonic series of C, the note that occurs between A and B flat is like a very simple ratio and is more consonant because of that than like the fifth that we have in the equal temperament tuning system. So like, and I am convinced so that the ear can hear this because our ears have evolved to hear the harmonic series. And so functional harmony came out of the just intonation tuning, not equal temperament tuning. The Western chord progressions that we understand. So
Right.
that's based on resolving dissonance.
Functional harmony is, you're saying.
Yeah, because you're moving dissonant. Because, I mean, to compare it to something like Indian classical music, or it's like where there's you don't really have a chord progression, right?
Yeah.
It's dealing with different sort of materials. In Western harmony, we have chord progressions.
Can you play that excerpt one more time? With this in mind?
I wouldn't say that this is a good excerpt to give an example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying though. And my question is, the bass is a conventional bass, right? Like I was listening to the bass line.
I don't know.
And I
don't
feel
know
like
if it's it might be digital. I have no idea.
because I feel like there was one note where I couldn't hear, like, okay, maybe that's not like, because and then when it did flip to that majory moment and it was still the same bass note, that was kind of a shock to the ear, But like, if
and
you're
also,
listening,
I don't know if
you're
you
listening-
remember, he was telling us about his 27 guitar. He has like two minor thirds and two major thirds or something like that.
Totally. And we talked about like the fun list of thirds and sixths and all that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Food for brain on that. I'll think, I wonder if I just like learned about harmony just in my own sweet way. I never, you know, you're talking about functional harmony in terms of tension and resolution, and then oftentimes I'll just move the shapes around. on
Well,
a
okay, if you
keyboard,
think
and-
about the evolution of Western music, right? It started with, you could go back to like the chant, Gregorian chant,
yeah,
where you have really, it's not really moving that much, but you have, it's all like very simple. Like there's not even thirds that often.
no, is that, are you talking about like Cantus Firmus, and there's like, you have like
Cantus
just a few
Firmus?
different options, like you have oblique motion, or you know what I mean? You have like,
I think that's even later than what I'm talking about.
okay.
But because the early chant stuff, you weren't even supposed to have thirds. It was just like fifths and octaves, or fourths and fifths and octaves, or something like this.
Uh-huh.
So, but you still had, even in that context, a built-in 1-4-5-1.
Huh.
Um,
Oh yeah. Crazy.
so, and then it kind of just, before long you have Bach, right? So,
You just yada 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 a little, but that's okay.
well, you know what I mean? It's like that,
Yeah.
that ultimately led little developments here and there. Everyone, like every little kind of iteration, adding more functional harmony until
Yeah.
we get to Bach, where it's like a really stable kind of set of rules that work in a very specific way.
Yeah.
And then I feel like after that, it's kind of just about breaking the rules over and over again until you get to Pierre Boulez or whatever. Or,
Yeah.
So that moment where you have this strict, really like the Baroque era harmony system is like strictly based on like the harmonic series, or that's where it comes from.
In the harmonic, so you're talking, because in the chant days it was like pure fifths and pure octaves,
Right. The
Like-
lower part of the harmonic series, right?
okay.
So you have first an octave, then a fifth, then a fourth.
I thought, okay. I thought there was a third first, but it was a fourth after that.
No. It's so like if we're talking about C, so we have C the fundamental,
Mm-hmm.
C the first partial,
Mm-hmm.
G the second partial, and C the fourth partial. So octave, fifth, fourth. And then
Sorry.
next we have a third, major third, and then a minor third, and then an even more minor third.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. This is, I mean, y'all can't see this, but I'm sitting here thinking and visualizing. So, because I talk about this on here with multiple people. I talk about this with my wife a lot. I've talked about this with so many people, but it's just like, for some reason, this is, it's not settling in my brain. So I need to like go work on this somehow, you know?
Yeah.
I should do it on We're So Cool.
Oh yeah. Yes. The easiest place to make to deal with this stuff, honestly.
Yeah. Danny's about to drop some amazing music as well, by the way.
He's
So-
been making some great YouTube videos.
Yeah. He's the best.
I wonder, we should get him back on.
Yeah, let's do it. He would love to. Well, right on. I mean, that was a fun sidetrack into
Let me give some
My-
quick shout outs of honor before we
Okay.
wrap it up.
honor.
All right, so Boreal Despair by Skythala from I Voidinger Records. It's like kind of black metal. I mean, it's I Voidinger Records. If you're familiar with I Avoid Anger stuff that we've talked about. It's
Another beautiful
kind of a
album
weird,
cover.
dark black metal stuff with like these. It's got a lot of like trumpet synths and stuff that's really interesting. Antiphonal by Sarah Davachi. It's like, this is kind of like a meditative ambient record. And this one, I don't normally get into the slow ambient stuff, but this one has a really great vibe to it. It's great for bath time. I've been putting it on for bath time.
Awesome.
Highly recommended. Isef Youssef, the album Consistency, is this it's kind of like a I don't know what to say. It's like a pop album with bassoon as the main instrument and like a drum machine. And the guy is singing.
Oh man, that just sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it's really here, let me just play. I'll play just a
Yeah.
Alone, begin. Feel so lonely now. Alone with friends. Someone tell me how.
yeah, cool
Yep.
album.
That'll be got tomorrow. That's amazing.
Distance by Erasers is this is like a really, really slow I mean, it's not, I don't know how to say, it's like really like dirge tempo electro, like there's like singing, so it's like I want to say like electro. It's kind of have a like a post rock vibe, but it's with synths. Maybe is a good way to describe it.
Oh, okay.
Really cool album. Did I say the album? Distance by Erasers. That's
Yes.
the album. And then of course, I think this one has gotten lauded plenty, but it's still really cool. Is Quality Over Opinion by Lewis Cole.
Yeah, it's great, and it's doing just fine.
Yeah.
Lewis Cole's doing well. So I mean, but it's great.
Yeah, he's really cool. It's features a guy that is from Bakersfield actually on it.
Who?
Marlon Mackey?
Cool. I mean, yeah, he's got Kurt Rosenwinkel on here, Sam Gendel. It's a heater.
Yep, some good songs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nate Wood, my man. Fantastic. It's really funny that both Nate Wood and Nate Smith are two of the best drummers alive right now. Can get them mixed up, but they're very different players, and they're both incredible drummers.
By the way, I'm looking at Brendan Burns' profile picture on Bandcamp, and he does have a bass. I'm not sure what the tuning is, but it's something.
Okay, let's
something not normal.
Let's hit him up. Everyone gets around to on this podcast.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the episode. It's time to clear some shit up. All right, brother, man. Well, how do you feel? I mean, that's a lot of incredible music. I really am excited to listen to what you recommended. I think you personally should definitely check out the Patricia Brennan and the John Irbegon. And
send me all the links to all that stuff.
I will. And
So
I think
I can-
you'd find the Josh Sinton record really interesting. So I hope you check that out.
Yeah, so we need to okay. Yes, let's end it. Let's end this podcast.
Thank you, everyone. Have fun listening to all of this.
Happy New Year.